Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing this voice only for this episode because my dog has been barking her head off. My kid is busy watching Daniel Tiger for exactly 5 minutes, so I want to just go ahead and make this video really, really quick so that I wasn't getting too far off my schedule. Today we're talking about Over a Barrel. This is one of my favorite episodes of season 1 of My Little Pony, and I think a big part of the reason for that is because the message is so mature. And I mean, even compared to some of the other episodes that I've said that about, this one is especially so. So this episode starts off with one of my favorite Applejack moments. It's her falling over a tree named Bloomberg. You think that like they have like a friend or something they're bringing on this trip with them. No, it's actually that Applejack has rented an entire train car just to keep this tree comfortable. She covers it up with a blanket. She reads its stories. It's almost kind of sick the way she treats this tree. I really think it's funny. They're taking it to Appaloosa, which is a place we get introduced to in this episode and rarely see again, but my gosh, the character of this place is incredible. The amount of world building they do in a way that's both goofy and funny, but also it kind of makes sense. Like there's nothing irrational about most of it. It's just the fact that they they thought through the world building in a way that like the stuff that is named is puns, but it's also puns that actually there's no reason they couldn't exist in this world. So they're throwaway jokes, but if you consider them part of the world building, it doesn't actually fracture anything. It's really quite fun.
Welcome to Appaloosa! Boggles the mind, we settler ponies built all this in just the past year, don't it? Horse-drawn carriages.
Okay, you pull now.
Ah, we just switched. Horse-drawn carriages. The salt block. That's enough salt for you! Wild West dances. And here's where we have our Mild West dances.
On the way to Appaloosa, they end up getting robbed of their tree by a herd of buffalo dressed like Native Americans. Now, this episode I've always thought was quite cool because I have a lot of Native American ancestry in my family, and I always thought that this episode depicted them. First off, making them buffalo is a really cool idea. It gives them a very distinct look. So they actually are a different race in this universe, but the fact that we draw the parallels to point out how similar they are. You know, they're both hoofed creatures. They're both vegetarians. These creatures actually, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to live in this world side by side without fighting. Just like different races in the real world, you know, we should be able to get along. Along the way, we get two jokes that I find really humorous. The first is something that became kind of a meme where Fluttershy is concerned.
We'll have to carry that heavy tree all the way from the train to the orchard? You mean Bloomberg? No, Fluttershy. What's going on? Rainbow Dash thinks Fluttershy's a tree. She's not a tree, Dashy. I'd like to be a tree.
Now that's pretty funny and all. I mean, like I said, it became a meme. It got blown way out of proportion. But the joke, I think, is the funniest in this episode in terms of just making you wonder how it ended up in My Little Pony is this joke.
Well, that was kind of Huffy. Huffy the magic dragon.
The buffaloes accidentally kidnap Spike when they're taking the tree, and they feel really bad about this. It was not their intention to do that. Well, Rainbow Dash and Pinkie end up going out to find Spike, and when they do, they hear the buffalo tell them how the settler ponies have planted an apple orchard in their traditional stamping grounds. This is the reason why they are fighting back in the only way they can, by stopping them from importing any more trees. Now, I think this might be the real reason I love this episode, is just the fact that you can read so much into this one little scene. I'm probably going to get a copyright flag for this, but I'm going to show you as much of the scene as possible, because I really want you to get a sense of what this scene is doing.
Strongheart here to explain to the Appaloosans why they should move the apple trees off Buffalo land.
That information will be quite helpful.
That's weird, because my cousin Brayburn here wants to explain to the buffalo why they should let the apple trees stay. That would be a useful thing to... The land is theirs. You planted the trees not knowing that. Honest mistake. Now, you just gotta move them, that's all.
Well...
They busted their rumps here, and now they're supposed to bust their rumps again just because some buffalo won't stampede someplace else? Plant the trees somewhere else. Where? It's the only flat land around these parts. The buffalo had it first. The settler ponies need it to live.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the state of modern politics, isn't it? Two people completely unrelated to the issue arguing with each other to the death and destroying their friendships. Meanwhile, the actual people affected stand off in the background and look confused. Well, Pinkie Pie sings a song about sharing and caring, and yes, it is a goofy, over-the-top song. What I find more distracting is the fact that they put her in a showgirl outfit with fishnet stockings, and then people wonder why the folks in this generation grew up so effed up. Pinkie Pie's song does more damage than good because far from listening to the message of it, they both just agree that it's an awful song, which is quite funny. And they decide that tomorrow at noon we're going to attack and we're going to take back the stamping grounds from the settler ponies, and you can't do anything about it. And so they prepare for war, and the settler ponies prepare to fight in the only way they can by making pies. That is really silly. And so, as expected, the climax is a huge slapstick battle where the buffaloes are tearing apart the town and the settlers are throwing pies in their face. And the buffaloes are acting like they've been mortally wounded every time they get hit by a pie. It's super funny. It's fun because by doing this, I think Zootopia does this really well too. By making this animals and not real people, I think you're free to find it funnier than you would if this was actually Native Americans and white people. I mean, this would not be nearly as funny if it was done with real actors. Now, the buffalo almost don't attack at all, but Pinkie Pie starts singing again, and that sets them off, which is really funny. Now, this is another fun way of, like, if you want to read way too deeply into this, you can see how people, again, who have nothing to do with the situation, getting involved, or overly involved, can regularly spark off more battles with their good-intentioned but terribly executed efforts to bridge the battles themselves without letting the other people involved actually get to the root of the problem. Which, by the way, again, that scene really indicates could have happened. These people could have just talked it out, but you get other folks getting involved and messing it up even further. During the battle, the chief gets hit in the face with a pie, and he accidentally eats some. Well, upon finding out that the pies are actually, like, the best thing he's ever tasted, apparently, he agrees that they will share the stomping grounds with the apple orchard, in exchange for the settler ponies giving them pies. In other words, exactly what should have happened to begin with. The settlers should have just rented or paid for the use of a certain amount of land. This is basically a lease. Why they couldn't have done that to begin with is highly questionable. But then again, it actually does raise that real-life question, doesn't it? Why couldn't some of the things that have happened in the past have just been done more reasonably? Well, is one side to blame or the other side to blame? It's hard to say. These issues are not always as simple and clear-cut as they appear. But then, the lesson of this episode really does get to the heart of it. If we all try to care about each other and realize that we're all human and share, then we can come to a better agreement, giving back what is rightfully the property of somebody else without costing ourselves the things we need to live. We can learn to share if everybody's willing to compromise. Of course, again, in real life, things are not so simple. In real life, both sides can be unwilling to compromise, and that can screw up everything. But it's a nice lesson for another generation of people and the next generation to learn as kids. That maybe, if you grow up with the right mindset, we might be able to just learn to share and learn to care. I know that's cheesy, but it's true. And I really like this episode. I think the execution was daring. To have this actually be about cowboys and Indians, for lack of a better phrase, and, you know, have direct real-life counterparts. Again, like Zootopia, the message, the social message works because it doesn't represent any specific thing. You can apply it to a bunch of stuff. But My Little Pony said, no, we're going to have a highly specific, really hot button topic be the principal element of this episode. And they did it. And it actually came out really good, all things considered. So, yeah, highly recommend this one among the episodes of Season 1. Thank you, everybody, for watching. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one. And remember, sharing is caring.